Yeah, that's right. Thanks very much, Jody. And coming up next, we're going to learn about how this possum came to be here and perform a little bit of an examination. Up next on BT. We'll be right back. I like that, Jody. I like that. Awesome possum for sure. And we have this little girl here. Anna, how did we come to see this possum here?
So this little one came to us on November 5th. It was brought by a member of the public. They did suspect he was hit by a car, but after examination, we actually noticed that he had some puncture wounds on his forehead. So we do suspect more that he was actually, or she, it's a little girl, that she was actually attacked by a predator. So that's how.
So as far as our examination goes, I guess the first thing is to weigh this possum, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are we looking for as far as, was it underweight when it came in?
It was actually in very good condition,
okay.
And it was overall doing fairly okay. It didn't eat for the first few days, which is usually normal because of the stress of being in a different environment. But it started eating okay, and now we're just in the last stages of rehabilitation. Because the sutures, we did a surgery, and as you can see here, they're healing really, really well. So this animal is already outside, like I said, in the last stages of rehabilitation, and hopefully within another 3 or 4 days, we're going to be able to release it.
And do we typically see possums in the Lower Mainland? Are they usual sight?
We don't. Okay. So they're more down south of the Fraser River. They are slowly coming up north. They are the only marsupials in North America. So it's very special for us when we have them in. This is a little girl. She does not have any babies in her pouch just yet because it's summer is gone. But yeah, she's doing very, very good.
Well, of course, due to the great work here at the Wildlife Rescue Association. By the way, Jody, they have a Hibernation Station Pro D-Day camp happening on November 28th. It's a full day camp. For more details, check out their website. But there's so much to learn here. This morning, we're going to find out what you do as well if you find an animal in distress. We'll come back here to Burnaby throughout the morning on BT. Good morning to you. And what should you do if you hit a bird or you come across an injured bird? We're going to tell you coming up next as we also examine this barred owl on BT.
Born to be wild.
And the Wildlife Rescue Association, Dawn?
Yeah, and just to give people an idea of where it is, it's actually just on the south shore of Burnaby Lake. Wasn't that far from the station, and it's a place where people actually do make their way to drop off animals that are injured. But you're always at capacity here, aren't you, Anna?
Yes, basically this facility has been built about 35 years ago, and the maximum it was supposed to be 1,500 animals, and as of today we're over 4,200. So way over our limit.
And including visitors such as this barred owl. Tell us about this guy.
Yeah, so this little guy was found in Vancouver. He hit a window, as is pretty much what happens during the summer, and the winter. I'm just checking his pupillary response to see, because he suffered head trauma, and there's a little bit of a problem with his eye. So we're trying to monitor his eye, and we're just giving him some pain medication for it, and he should be okay. So.
What should people do if they either hit a bird, unfortunately if they hit one, or if they even come across an injured bird, or one they believe is injured?
Okay, so basically ideally put him in a box for about half an hour or so. Give us a call right away explaining what happened to the situation. We're open every day from 8 to 5:30, and if we're not open, our message will change, and you can drop off the animal at the Animal Emergency Clinic in Vancouver.
Now, if someone comes across a baby, we always think that, oh my gosh, we shouldn't touch the babies, then they'll be rejected. Is that always the case?
No, that's in terms of birds, that is definitely an urban myth. Birds don't have a good sense of smell, so there's no problem in touching them.
Either way, give them a call. What can you do to help? We're going to find out coming up next segment. Michelle, if people want to volunteer, of course, they always need money. By the way, to get a year's supply of insects, $1,100, if you can imagine.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a lot of money. Oh, they do great work there. Look at that guy.
That's right, here at the Wildlife Rescue Association in Burnaby. Up next, we are going to examine this badly injured gull. Plus, how can you help? Oh, we've got some very specific ways up next on BT. Well, you know, we're hearing the music right now, a flock of seagulls. And you know what's interesting, Anna, is when I was going to tease up that we were going to meet a seagull, you said we're actually supposed to call them gulls.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just people started calling them seagulls. Actually, there's a funny line. What would you call a gull that is found on a bay?
A bagel. Good one. See, so they're gulls. We have a gull here, a badly injured one.
Yes. Unfortunately, this guy has been with us for a while. He was hit by a car. Ended up with a fracture on his wing and a big laceration on his face, and he's still dealing with an injury to his eye. So we're still monitoring his situation, and hopefully it will be okay, but for the time being, he has to stay with us.
And we know he's young because he's gray.
Exactly. So older gulls become all white and blue like we know them, grayish. These little guys are completely spotted on their first year until they actually reach sexual maturity at third year.
Now, we know that you and Jelaine are staff here, but there are volunteer opportunities. What kinds of things can volunteers do?
We need a lot of volunteers. We're mainly volunteer run. So in terms of animal care volunteers, transport volunteers, we always need them. Gardening, administration, there's a whole lot of opportunities for everyone.
And you always need money. I mentioned earlier, to even have a year's supply of insects, it's about $1,100. So money is always welcome. But for anyone that maybe owns appliance stores out there, you need a freezer.
We do need a freezer. We're getting a lot of fish donation, and we don't have the space to put it in, so we would appreciate it, a freezer, yes.
Excellent. And just quickly, how soon could we maybe expect this gull to be released?
This one, the prognosis is still a little guarded. We're hoping to move it outside today just to reduce the stress, but not sure yet.
Well, again, help as you can, the Wildlife Rescue Association. Jody, they also have it's called a hibernation hibernation camp anyways, Pro D-Day camp for any of the students that are out there that maybe want to come and check this out. For more details, people can go to their website. And again, they need a freezer and some cash, so help where you can. Yeah, the Wildlife Rescue Association. We're up next, an owl the size of a coffee cup or an iPhone. Yes, a pygmy owl up next on BT. And right now, the size really of a coffee cup or a cell phone. Anna, tell us about this pygmy owl.
This little one, again, the fall, it's prone for them to hit windows. But he recovered rather quickly, and we'll be assessing his waterproofing to see if he's ready to go outside today.
Now, I'm assuming like most owls, they eat rodents, but it's basically the size of a rodent. How does that work?
It is. Little owls tend to have a bigger, or their metabolism is faster than smaller ones. So they tend to still eat mice. They do tend to prey on smaller animals too. Sometimes they eat bigger insects. So you can see the water beating on his feathers. That's perfect. So it means that she's ready to go outside.
Ready to go outside. And so by ready to go outside, is there still any more rehabilitation to happen, or does that mean it's ready for release?
At this point, just to get a little stamina going, because it's been in captivity in a smaller enclosure for a little bit. So that will be probably the last stage.
And almost seems cute enough to keep, but once again, for viewers at home, we have to make sure that they get rehabilitated and then of course released out into the wild. If you ever have any questions, you can contact the Wildlife Rehabilitation Association. We're going to take a little break here on Breakfast Television. Will this cold snap continue? Russ Lacate has those details up next.